Cancer, and welcome back to my channel. Welcome if this is your first time here. Make sure you subscribe down below if you have not already. So usually I am in front of the camera, but for this month's reading I'm going to be behind the camera. I hope you guys don't mind. My energy is just kind of drained, so I'm just doing all my readings behind the camera this month. So this is going to be for the sign of Cancer, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus, and it's going to be a love and spirituality reading for the month of October. And I'll also be doing an extended video, and I will link that in the description box down below, so be sure to check that out after you are finished watching this one. So Cancer, let's see what's going on for this month. So first we're going to pull the past position cards. The energy that I was picking up on was a lot of stiffness, like stiffness in my neck area, in my back. So some of you could be experiencing that right now. Could be for a bunch of different reasons. Could be stress, could be exhaustion, anxiety, just a lot of tension that I'm feeling, especially in my upper back, like my shoulder blades and my neck. So let's see what's going on here. Past for Sun, Cancer, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. Knight of Wands in reverse, okay. The Hierophant. Temperance. Okay, so let's see here. In the bottom of the deck is the Fool card. So I feel like the Knight of Wands, it's coming up in the past position in the reverse, because a lot of you could have been in a period of not feeling very confident. I'm getting this energy of you needing to make a bold decision and fearing to do so. So this bold decision, could be a number of things, but because the Fool card is at the bottom of the deck, I'm getting that it was a decision that caused you to step out on faith, and it's something that you didn't know how the outcome was going to turn out. So some of you could have just not made the decision, is what I'm hearing. Like there was a decision that you knew you had to make, something you had to walk away from, or something you had to walk towards, and it's looking like you possibly didn't have the courage or the faith to, with the Knight of Wands being in reverse. So let's see what else here. The Hierophant, that's all I'm really getting for that card. That could be you, or that could also be the person that you were dealing with, but I'm getting the strong energy that it was you. It's like knowing you need to make a decision that's best for you, but it takes a lot of like courage and confidence to do so, because you would have to detach from something else in order to move into something that you know is meant for you. And it's like you not having the courage to do so, or you feeling like you're not bold enough to do so, because it would take a lot of faith. It's certain decisions that we know we're going to succeed at because it's so obvious what the outcome is going to be if we take the steps towards it. But then there's those decisions in life where we have no clue how it's going to turn out, and we're asked to just really step out on faith, and that can be very difficult. So the Hierophant is here. So the Hierophant talks about tradition, taking the traditional route when it comes to your decisions, when it comes to the way that you behave. So I feel like this has a lot to do with, like I said, this Knight of Wands energy of kind of going by the rules or playing by the book and not being bold enough to step out on faith. And like I said, this could be a number of different things. This is a general reading, so I'm getting a couple different messages. Some of you, it's like taking the traditional route, meaning staying in a situation that you know was no longer good for you, simply because you put so much time and effort into it, and you were being guided to take the bold move of detaching from the situation and moving away from it, and you had a hard time doing so. So I feel like that's normal. That's a normal occurrence. Like I said before, when we're being asked to let go of something that we have already invested in or that we are comfortable with, it's very difficult to do so because we don't know what to expect next. We don't know what's coming up next. So it's easier to just kind of stay put and stay where we are. For others of you, I feel like it wasn't a situation that you were stuck in or that you were staying in. It was possibly a state of mind. It's like you were needing to elevate your state of mind or change your perspective on something, seek out higher knowledge on it. And I feel like some of you have done that because the Hierophant is in the upright. So that's a good thing. But for those of you who did seek out that higher knowledge and wisdom, the Knight of Wands could be coming up in the reverse, because even though you get the wisdom or you see things from a higher perspective or you make the decision to change, that's just a decision. Like, now you have to actually put it into action and take steps towards it. So some of you could have been having a hard time with that. The Temperance in reverse, the Temperance is in the upright, sorry. And that does talk about coming into balance. I feel like I'm getting a highly spiritual energy from a lot of you, meaning that you could be, you know, very much into spirituality as a form of, as a mode of healing yourself, very much into meditation, crystals, things of that nature. And you turn to it as a source of guidance and comfort, which is a positive thing, but just make sure that in the midst of it, you're still taking action towards your healing and you're not just kind of like studying it, if that makes sense. So I do feel some inner peace and balance has come into your life. The Page of Wands is here, so some of you could be, in the past, could have had a newfound sense of optimism, meaning that you are starting to become optimistic about your path and about your future because you're getting into alignment. And if you're not feeling that energy yet, it's going to be coming in for you soon. So let's pull for the present. Ten of Cups. Wow, okay. What reading did I just do that got this exact same card in the same position? Aries? Yeah, I think it was Aries that got this card in the exact same position. So if you were dealing with an Aries, you might want to check that video out. The way that I set up my cross-watching, or like my videos, is that I don't set them up for people to cross-watch. So if I ever say, oh, if you're dealing with so-and-so, go watch that video, it's more so because I want you to watch it because there might be a message in there for you. Not necessarily that you're, you know, cross-watching to see what they're doing, but there could be guidance in there that could benefit you. So with the Ten of Cups, okay, the Eight of Wands, and the Empress card in reverse jumped out. So the Ten of Cups talks about emotional stability, finding that inner peace and harmony, and once you found that inner peace and harmony, it reflecting into your everyday life. So it's like giving birth, because the Ten of Cups, you can clearly see she's giving life. It's like giving birth to all your dreams and desires by coming into alignment within and then attracting what you want in life outside of yourself. So for example, if you're wanting a divine partnership, if you're wanting a lifetime partner, a soulmate, things of that sort, what you would do is get into alignment within yourself, meaning that you would start practicing self-love and self-care, start healing any type of triggers that may cause you to sabotage those type of connections. So it's like getting into alignment with your emotions within, and then, you know, as a result of that, you attract the things into your life that you want externally. And I'm also getting with the Ten of Cups, because with her being pregnant in the picture, it's like you giving birth to yourself, like you rebirthing yourself, and it being kind of a slow process, but it's taking a long time, or it's a slow process because if you think about a pregnancy, it takes 9 months for a reason. If you're pregnant, you don't hope that the baby comes out in 6 months. You want it to be carried to full term because the baby needs to develop fully. And I feel like that's the energy that some of you are needing to take on or needing to remember, is that things that take slowly, or like the process of rebirthing yourself, it's a slow process because it's meant to be a slow process because you are in the process of being created fully. So I feel like this is also talking about divine timing and everything happening in the order that it is supposed to happen and not rushing it. Because it's like you could easily say like, oh, I want, you know, a healthy, stable partner and I want a divine partnership. You can say that, but then if you have wounding that causes you to feel like you are not lovable, if God were to bring that person into your life, you would then self-sabotage, you see? So it's like, it's all about divine timing. So if you're not seeing the things that you want right now manifesting into your life, they're coming, but just keep working towards it. And then when the timing is right, you'll manifest it. So the Knight of Wands is here in the reverse. So a specific message that's coming through is that you saw someone as this Ten of Cups, meaning that you saw that they could be someone that you could spend a long time with, or that you could have emotional stability with, long-term success with. And I'm getting that it possibly didn't work out, or you didn't have the courage to. I'm getting different things. It's like some of you, the person you were dealing with, didn't have the courage to step out on faith with you and build this. And then some of you, it's you that's in this energy, that you didn't have the faith or the confidence to grow this. And the confidence, when you lack confidence in the ability to grow a relationship, it could come from internal wounding, like I stated before, but it could also come from the person's actions as well. It's not always about, you know, you're wounded, so that's why you can't make this work. It could have been that you were dealing with another person who's wounded as well. And so both energies kind of clashing and not being able to come together in a healthy way and build something long term. And that can go for family, friends, love. Take it as it resonates. It doesn't have to always mean romantic partnership. The Strength card in reverse here is telling me, because it's at the bottom of the deck, it's pretty much telling me that whatever this situation was, it took too much out of you. It's like sometimes we want to keep on putting our energy and effort into something, keep on trying to make it work, and then it's like it depletes you. And you feel like you don't have enough strength to carry on. And that's because you're not meant to carry on in situations like that. I feel like it's a situation where someone just wasn't satisfied no matter how much energy was being put into it. And so it's like constantly being depleted because it's like no matter what you do, it's never enough. And so then you're forced to kind of release that and to not put your energy and effort into that. Because if it's draining you of your strength and your life force, that means that it's not meant to be in your life. Because connections, people, family, jobs, whatever it is, it's supposed to be replenishing you with energy, not always like draining you and making you feel weak and vulnerable and making you feel afraid. For some of you, if it wasn't the person's actions that was making you feel this way, like I said, it could have been internal wounding, making you feel like you don't want to be vulnerable or like you don't want to give your power away. This could be you or the person that you were dealing with. So the Strength card in reverse just talks about, it's kind of like a kid who is kind of being put out in the middle of a city and they are very afraid. I used this metaphor before, this analogy before. I'm not sure which video it was in, but I was saying it's like if you have a little kid and you take them to New York. If they have their mother and father right there holding their hand, they're very excited to be in New York. All the buildings are tall. It's a bunch of, activity. They're very excited to be there. But if the mother and father isn't there and you just drop a little kid off in New York, they're going to be scared to death. So I feel like that's kind of the energy that you are in, or the other person was in, being dropped off in New York without the parents. And by parents, I mean that self-esteem and that self-nurturing and self-love that comes from within, so that then you don't have to be afraid to connect with anyone on a romantic level, or you don't have to be paranoid or fearful that someone's going to leave or hurt you. So I hope that made sense. Try to explain the best way I knew how. The Eight of Wands talks about stagnant energy. So with it being underneath the Hierophant, I feel like this is asking you to be mindful of the ways that you think, because the Hierophant, like I said, is traditional, meaning that it's something that you've been doing over and over that's very repetitive. And when you do something over and over, you master it, whether that be something negative or something positive. So if you avoid your emotions a lot, you're mastering the art of avoiding, or you're mastering the process of avoiding to where it becomes second nature to you. So it's asking you to be very careful of your actions or your repetition, your behavior. Be very mindful and observe it so that then you can change it, because I feel like there is some type of patterns that you hold on to within yourself that keeps you stuck, keeps you stagnant, and that are no longer serving you. And that could be really interfering with your relationships as well. So, and also I'm getting with the Eight of Wands is about communication. So the person you were dealing with could possibly, I don't know why I'm picking up on the other person's energy. Usually I don't pick up on the other person's energy that heavily, but I'm picking it up here. The other person that you were dealing with could possibly have a problem with communication, meaning that they're kind of traditional in their way of thinking as well, which wouldn't be surprising, because when you're in like soulmate situations or people that you connect with heavily, that's how it goes. Sometimes you mirror each other's wounding. So I feel like there was an issue with communication as well, like being an avoidant instead of taking the time out to actually communicate, and just being very stuck in their ways in that way. So I'm getting a very stubborn energy from that card as well. The Empress in reverse is the card of self-love, and it's in the reverse, so obviously that's not good. I feel like some of you really are trying to come into balance within yourself and really are trying to love yourself the best way you know how, but it's difficult. It's not something, I feel like I hope I'm getting these cards in focus. It's not something that's necessarily easy. But I feel like you're trying. Just keep on trying. That's the message that I'm getting. Just keep on going. Even when it feels like you're not doing it right, or you're not coming into alignment, or you don't feel like, the affirmations are working, gosh, I just lost the message. Even when you feel like the affirmations aren't working, or you feel like your self-love work, or your inner child work isn't working, it is working. It's just that you can't see it yet because it's a slow but sure process. And just remind yourself of how long you have been in these repetitive cycles, and remind yourself that it took a very long time to train your mind to be a certain way, so now it's going to take a certain amount of time to untrain your mind to be a certain way. So just continue on practicing self-love, and one major key to this is removing yourself from any situation that makes you feel like you're hard to love or makes you feel like you are not the best version of yourself. Because you can do all the positive affirmations in the world and practice all the self-care in the world, but if you're still around people or still giving your energy to people who don't make you feel like the highest version of yourself, then what's the point? It's like you undo all of your work. So you have to remove yourself from those situations. So I'm going to read the Eight of Wands because it is at the center of the reading. Eight of Wands. Okay, so the shadow aspect of the Eight of Wands. There may be continued blockages in communication. You may not have found your stance. There may be someone you are worried about being open to. Try to assess these feelings and approach them with love. Repeat the mantra, I communicate clearly and openly. So some of you, like I said, there was an issue with communication and there's a need for that to be healed. And that's not for you to do the healing all on your own, meaning that if you're dealing with someone whose communication was off, it doesn't mean that you try to over communicate with them in order to compensate for the fact that they are not good at expressing themselves, you know? Because that will just leave you stuck as well. And be mindful of what I said about the Empress energy in reverse, giving your energy to things that just don't make you feel like the best version of yourself. So I'm going to pull 3 for the future outcome and we'll clarify them in the extended. The Two of Cups in reverse. The Three of Cups. A lot of emotions here in the page. That card wanted to come out really badly. I kept shuffling, I kept seeing it. So the Two of Cups is the soulmate card. So with it being in reverse, could mean a couple different things. Won't really know until I clarify in the extended. But mostly the Two of Cups in reverse usually comes with a lot of reflection of our shadow side, or a lot of reflection of a past relationship that caused a lot of pain within us and caused us to really reevaluate our sense of self, is what I'm getting with that. So we'll look at that in the extended for the future. The Three of Cups is here as well, and the Three of Cups is in the reverse. So I don't really like this card in the reverse because it could talk about isolating yourself, not feeling happy, not feeling joyous, not feeling passionate about things you once were passionate about. But when it comes to tarot, these future outcome cards, it doesn't mean that that's absolutely going to happen. It just means that this is what's most likely to happen if your energy doesn't shift. So we'll look at that in the extended as well. And then the Page of Wands in reverse. So the Page of Wands talks about, I see this as the Sagittarius card, the card of like optimism, of having like faith, keeping your head upwards and not looking down and not looking back. So with that being in the reverse, obviously that's a bit troublesome. But again, that just means that this is something to be wary of. That doesn't mean that it's gonna actually happen. So we will look at those in the extended, and we will get to the bottom of those energies and figure out a way to balance them out so that you don't have to face these in the near future. Okay, so that is it, Cancer. Thank you so much for watching this video. I will leave a link to the extended in the description box down below, and I will see you guys over on Vimeo. Bye.